Hey guys, welcome back to Defeating Hair Loss. My name is Steve. Tonight, I'm here to help you and talk about what I call basement chemists. Did any of you ever have kind of like gift for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever out there as like a childhood chemistry set? You know, you go down in the basement. You know, I think you can like mix a bunch of different stuff and chemicals and hopefully don't blow up the house. But you got like the volcano that comes out and all that. That was pretty cool. I remember that. I don't remember specifically what I did. I can actually still remember some of the chemicals. I don't think they were too dangerous, but it was interesting. And that was just one of the things through my childhood that I kind of enjoyed because I'm always interested in learning things. But some of the patients out there, some of you out there that are suffering from hair loss, you spend a lot of time on the internet. I mean, you know, I'm as guilty as charged. I spend a lot of time on the internet as well. When we have these issues in life, we tend sometimes to over-research. So what I find in talking with patients, specific patients, no reason who's going to be this person, they become kind of over-engaged in trying these like different things, almost like being in your basement and mixing all these different chemicals. They're afraid of the oral medication that can prevent hair loss, mainly finasteride, based on what's online, but they know they have to take it. Now there's different variations, right? There's topicals, there's orals, there's different doses, right? There's different milligrams and whatnot. And then there's the, you know, how you dose. In other words, do you take a milligram every other day? Do you take a milligram a day? Do you split it up? Do you cut the pill? What do you do? So these guys and a few girls out there are always experimenting. And I'm very happy to constantly communicate back and forth. And I learn a lot as well. But I have some advice for you. And that advice is we need to stick with what the clinical studies show. I mean, all we have is data. I'm one of these nerds that likes to use clinical research based on FDA approval in this country to make sure that I'm giving you the best advice. I am not a doctor. I have no medical training, so I'm not even allowed to give you actual medical advice. So what am I gonna say when someone says, what do you think about this, Steve? Or what do you think about that? I'm like, well, why don't we just stick to the program of what's supposed to be dosed? But still, I feel for everyone because they're struggling, they're suffering. So a couple things, right? Sometimes the topicals, some people will only want to use them once a day. And of course, they're not going to be as effective. Some will do it twice a day, but they'll use less because they think that even though it's a topical and it's not supposed to be absorbed systemically into the body, they're afraid of it. Then you've got oral dosing where they're afraid of that as well. But they'll try, you know, half a pill. They'll take a half a pill every other day. They'll take a half a pill every day. They'll take one pill every 3 days. You know, again, I'm just going to constantly go back to let's take it as directed. So my advice to you is that if you want to kind of do that basement chemistry set stuff, just do whatever you need to do to make yourself feel comfortable. I'm the kind of person that feels that as long as I do everything that's necessary to be successful at that particular objective, then I'm happy with myself. Did you work hard enough that day to achieve the goal? Did you do everything you could do to explain to that patient what they need to know in order to be successful in making an intelligent decision? So I'm behind you 100%. But what I can tell you out of my heart, which is not so much, you know, clinical data, is a lot of these people that kind of dilly-dally back and forth with changing doses and going from topicals, going to orals, cutting the dose, doing it every other day. All this different stuff is really more mental than really what's working. And they seem to always come back and get frustrated because they were on like a 2 or 3 month, you know, run where they thought their hair looked great and then all of a sudden, boom, it fell off. When I have my friend Bobby D next to me, we're always talking about good hair days and bad hair days. That kid always seems to have good hair days. I don't know how he does it. But what I'm telling you is that in life, you're going to have good days and bad days, hopefully a lot more good days. When you take the medicine as prescribed, as instructed, the odds of your hair increasing or getting better or not falling out is much higher than if you go back and forth with all these anecdotal things. And that's just my advice. The last thing I'll tell you is anything you are doing, even if you want to continue to do this stuff, you've got to take constant photos. And I would tell you to take them every 4 to 6 months. And if you want to get into the weeds and you want to get into that basement chemistry set, definitely have those photos there so that you really know what's going on. Because again, the lighting, where you are in the day or the night or the room, good hair days, bad hair days, it's going to drive you insane. and I don't want to see that happen. So again, be careful out there for what you read online. Be careful out there if you're going back and forth with all these different possible treatments. Don't get confused. We want to make this easy. We know what works. I hope this helps. Don't forget to like and subscribe.